The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making people believe he doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well,
God's not real.
Well, I deal with it.
When you die, you just die. If evil is real, what is it about us that makes us want to deny the possibility that there's some nefarious force that is in human beings, that influences human beings?
Joe Rogan has this conversation with Guy Fieri about evil in the world, and then Joe Rogan brings up a very popular saying about the devil, and it's absolutely amazing. So let's get right into it, guys. This is super fascinating. And they get into mediums, and I'm going to be commentating all the way through. Let's get into it.
I know. There's some sick people out there, man, and they live amongst us. That's what's up. And then the Nickelodeon thing, when you find out that people that were actually working for Nickelodeon
pressuring those kids.
Oh, God, man. But if you thought about it, like if you were really cynical and you thought about it through an evil mind, if you wanted to abuse kids, what would you do? You would work with kids.
Go work at Nickelodeon.
Jimmy Savile, that guy in the UK. You know about that guy,
No.
right? You don't know about that guy?
No.
Oh, my God. He's the worst one.
Your eyes.
First of all, this guy looked like a guy who had kids. He looked like a monster. Wow. And he had this show, I think it was called Jimmy'll Fix It. He worked with all these like really sick kids, and everybody was like, oh, what a saint, that guy. And that guy was children, like who knows how many of them. Oh, so there's a Netflix thing on it?
I feel bad for Jimmy because he looks like...
Coogan, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you don't even want to watch that. I don't even want to know. But they hid the fact, people knew that this guy was doing these things.
Well, you look at what
like
happened to the poor Boy
Sandusky.
Scouts. Look what happened to poor Boy Scouts. I mean, I didn't make it to Eagle Scouting and that stuff, but I was a Boy Scout. Learned some great stuff. Not any idea that stuff was going on. I don't think anything happened in my troop. I never heard about it. But that's exactly what you're saying. Mm-hmm. These guys would just go find their avenue, what's going to get me close to them,
right?
And then we're going to start doing it.
Yeah.
So where is the... You remember who's the guy that shot the predator, the karate coach that took his kid and he waited at the airport?
Yeah. Yeah, that famous video?
Yeah. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a hero.
That's how I'd handle it.
So there's a lot of evil in the world, and people are realizing that evil, if there's evil, then that means there's good. And if there's good, then what is that good? What's the difference between good and evil? And then you have to think about, what does that mean when it comes to God and the devil?
I agree 100%. I mean, it's sick. But it's like if you were a sick person, that's what you would do. If you wanted to be around kids, you would pretend that you're really interested in helping kids.
Kids,
there's always going to be people that are evil. And a lot of those people, unfortunately, have had evil imposed on them too when they were young, and that's the really sad part about it. It's just like it's almost like getting bit by a vampire, and then you and then you wind up doing it too.
Zombie.
Yeah, it's
That's crazy. That's so true. People who've been like as a kid or who've gone through things like that as a kid usually end up doing something as well growing up, or they have that temptation, or they just try to fulfill that need with the same type of, well, at least just sexual desires instead of bringing it to God. They really truly need God to heal them.
Very evil, and they exist. And then there's also like people that are elites, and that's their thing. Like their thing is to do something that is horrible, and it's not available to other people. So it's like, I think there's like a sickness that people have when they have power, like extreme power, and then what else can I do? What else can I do? What else is what else is taboo? What else is forbidden? Like all this Diddy that's coming out. Like
I was just gonna say, doesn't that sound topical?
Jesus Christ! The first day of the trial, did you pay attention to any of that stuff? I looked at it for like 10 minutes this morning, and I was like, I gotta stop. I can't look at this.
Well, what freaks me out is the people sitting in the courtroom listening to it.
Right.
And there's a wide spectrum of people that are getting subjected to it, and you just sit there and go,
yeah, well, not only that, how about the fact that this guy was running this for decades? He was doing this for decades to who knows how many people, and everybody was scared to talk about it because he'd have them killed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really wild, man. Evil is a real thing, Nobody wants to believe Because if you believe in the devil, right? If you believe in Satan, you believe in something that's silly. Like most people believe, a lot of people believe in God.
Yeah.
If you ask people, do you believe in God? Yeah, well, I'm not religious, but I believe in God. Okay, well, do you believe in the devil? Most people will say no. But do you believe in evil acts? Well, yeah, well, people certainly do evil things. Well, where do you think that comes from? If evil is real, what is it about us that makes us want to deny the possibility that there's some nefarious force that is in human beings, that influences human beings? It's not as simple as like some people are bad, some people are good. No, maybe evil is a real element that you have to fight in life. And that maybe this is just something that's been documented all throughout history, but our arrogance and our secular society wants to keep us from recognizing that as an actual factor. And
I think it's both ends. So we have our flesh and our fleshly desires. Not all of them are like super evil, but they're just inherently, not good. And then there is the devil, who is constantly, working in terrible ways. There's demonic influences all the time. The Bible says we do not battle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities that rule this earth. So there is evil. There's a lot of evil, and Joe Rogan's on to something here. That's crazy that he's admitting this. A lot of times evil is what brings people to God, because if you believe in objective morality and things are inherently evil, you have to admit then there must be a God.
it gets through. That's like
that's a really great way to say it, because if you denounce, okay, so you say there's no devil,
right.
So then you're somewhat saying that there's no evil, but you're not branding evil with some type of identifying factor. Then you kind of glaze over it a little bit. I think if that's what I'm hearing you're saying, and I agree with it, because it gets a little too. I think people want tangibility. I think people like to be able to understand things and see it for real and so forth. But when you start just talking about root evil, when you start looking at things like, I went to the Oklahoma bombing memorial, and when you look at it like that, you think about the hate on this country and the 9/11, and you think, or you just take it down to the Boy Scout troop leader, or you take it to you take it whatever. Yeah. There is a common denominator there, and that is just what you called it, evil. So call it devil, don't call it devil, but call it evil. The evilness is just in not being aware of it or not allowing ourselves to believe it, I think is part of the.
Well, it's the old quote, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making people believe he doesn't exist.
Well said.
That's a very common thing that people say. The greatest trick that the devil could have ever done is to make people think that he doesn't exist. So good. Absolutely brilliant. And to all the atheists out there, you have to admit, if there is no God, then what those people do are not inherently evil, according to your subjective morality, because according to them, they probably think it's not.
Or if you want to be thought of as a serious person, you never consider the devil. Like, oh, come on. There's no Satan. That's
down there burning.
Outrageous. Get away.
Yeah. So how do you? Boy, this goes in a lot of. This goes down some rabbit holes.
Yeah,
man.
well, there's rabbit holes in life. Life is a lot of rabbit holes.
But see, to me, this is when we talk about critical thinking. This is the stuff that when you really sit down and you have some conversations, besides arguing whose team is better, this is the type of stuff that you really have to get into some perspective. You can learn a lot.
Yeah.
If you're willing to talk about things and you're willing to open up and you're willing to be wrong. It's one of the things I'm always into is don't go into something with a predisposed opinion about it and be so hell-bent on it's your way, because you might really get your mind changed or you might really learn something about it. But as soon as you lock down on it's this way,
right.
And
there's no devil.
Yeah. Well,
God's not real. People say that.
I deal with it.
When you die, you just die. How do you?
That's crazy that he's saying that. How do you know? Exactly. People are so sure and make fun of Christians who are so sure about their belief. I love the direction Joe Rogan's getting into. But now Guy Fieri is going to be talking about a medium and how he believed in the medium. And I'm going to say that the medium probably does have some spiritual power, but not from God.
Have you been dead? Like, what are you talking about?
Do you believe? So, have you ever been to a medium?
A medium, like a
Yeah.
psychic medium? No, not a real one.
Okay, so
I mean, I don't think that I'm not like one of those people that says they don't exist. I think it's possible.
I was a very not anti-preaching, but anti. So my mom believes in it. Mom did. My wife does. Wasn't my cup of tea. Not saying bad, just wasn't my cup of tea. My sister died, real close with my sister, and I kept getting this weird feeling. I mean, my wife's not telling me to go. My mom's not telling me to go. No one's saying a thing to me. Then the hawk is a representation of my sister. I'm driving my big RV cross country with my family. Every year we do a big, huge road trip with the family. This hawk flies outside of my window. 5 minutes. No, it was a real 5 minutes. Flew along the freeway with me as fast as I was going. Dirt road. And I was like, ah. So I asked my mom, who was the lady, to call. So I went and had this thing. Didn't know me very well. Didn't know much about me. And I had the most mind-blowing experience. Like, mind-blowing. And I had to really sit there. I had to go back to my wife and my mom and say, okay, there's something out there that's going on that's bigger than us, than I can comprehend.
Remember on Sean Ryan's video where he interviews a psychic, a medium, and there's a reason the CIA uses psychics, because somehow they have some power, but it's not of God. I'm telling you, it's not what God wants. And literally, when he asked the medium about the resurrection, she literally started to shake and her eyes rolled back in her head. She started just touching her teeth. Super weird stuff. Because Jesus is stronger than any of those things. But not saying that it's completely BS, you know? I believe there's things happening, supernatural things. Not always good. He could be messing with some weird stuff.
I kind of, to make sense of it for myself, because I have to make sense of it, is if you're a baby laying in a bassinet, and you can smell and you can breathe and you can poop and you can eat and you can sleep and giggle, but I can talk to you. I can talk to the baby, but the baby can't understand me. But there's some transmission of connection,
right.
Like, make it giggle.
Yeah.
At this stage, am I the baby in the bassinet and my sister's trying to talk to me, and like I'm just kind of getting it, but I'm not. But is that possible? The older I get, the more I start to buy into, there's got to be something else. There's no way it can be all this and not be something more. It just didn't vaporize, go away. So the other day, maybe 6 months ago, sitting in a hot tub. I had to have my routine of hot sauna, cold plunge, hot tub, infrared. I do all that. But I'm sitting there, and I keep getting this thing. I gotta call this medium lady. And I texted her, and I said, hey, can I come see you? And she goes, yeah. She goes, your dad's been hitting me up quite a bit. Dad wants to talk to you.
Your dead dad.
My dead dad.
That is wild. Why in the world? This psychic is like, your dad's been hitting me up. That's kind of sus. Joe Rogan's going to be very like a skeptic. And I'm a skeptic too here. But not saying that it's always a good thing.
He's been hitting her up.
To get in touch with me, to make...
Does she know that your father's dead?
She knows my dad. Yeah, she knew my dad's dead. But the point was, and there was more intricacies about it, but she said, yeah, he's been talking about it. She goes, were you just in Mexico? I said, yeah. Should you do something about him in Mexico? Something about an owl? There's no way in a million years she would know this.
An owl?
Yeah, my dad comes back as an owl. So he said he was going to be as an owl.
That's weird.
This is what he was saying to her?
To me.
To you?
Yeah, this is before he died.
Before he died, he said, I'm going to come back as an owl?
No, owl was the thing. Wise guy.
Okay.
And
You
I
know,
hung.
owls are dumb as
I don't know. I've
Isn't
been
that
around
crazy?
I don't know that. I've never seen.
I love how Joe Rogan's so skeptical about this, but now he's more open to like religion and Jesus. But yeah, this is still like, what if this medium heard of someone, you know, she was friends with the dad, or she was friends with his mom or his wife, and they've been talking. That could be a thing too, not gonna lie. But
Smarter than me. They
No.
scare the shit out of me.
No, they're really dumb birds.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
my dad would talk about. Thanks a lot, Joe. Makes me
No,
feel
I'm not saying your dad's dumb. I'm just saying it's weird that we all have this idea of owls being wise. I talked to this lady who trains birds. She says they're
the
some
dumb
of
ones?
the dumbest birds. It's
Well-
like the only thing dumber than them is emus. It's like emus are dumb as shit.
Just saw emus on a ranch yesterday.
She's like, we have this idea that owls are really smart.
Well, whatever the case
Sorry.
is.
Go
I
ahead.
hung up a stained glass owl where my dad used to sit in our house in Mexico. No way, you know that. There's no way. So I don't know. I'm not cheating or preaching.
There's something-
There's something bigger going on there.
Have
with
you
it.
ever
And
heard of the
I know people are
telepathy
looking at me
tapes?
going, guys, fucking crazy. But it really is my.
I don't think you're crazy, but I would be careful because of what the Bible talks about all the time.
There's got to be something else.
Have you ever heard of the telepathy tapes?
No.
The telepathy tapes are this podcast this woman put together from her work with nonverbal autistic kids and their families. Nonverbal autistic kids and their mothers in particular have an incredible, measurable psychic bond where the mother can be in another room. The mother can look at images. The kid will be able to write down what the mother sees. The mother could be reading things, and the child will write down what she's reading. And it turns out these kids have abilities that are unexplainable. She documented a nonverbal autistic kid who had the ability to read hieroglyphs. They have the ability to read languages that they've never studied. It's very strange. And that they all meet up on some place called The Hill. Psychically, they meet up together, and they all describe it. So some place psychically where all these nonverbal autistic kids get together. Yeah, like, so this documentary, the telepathy tapes, is like very well researched. Like what they're doing, they made sure they covered up any reflective surfaces. They checked everybody for wires. They scanned the room for any device that could possibly transmit information. There was nothing.
Right.
And these children were able to do this like 100% of the time. It's a real documented phenomenon that a lot of people are reluctant to believe in, you know, because it's one of those things you believe in it all. You believe in fucking fairy tales, superstition shit. You're a sucker, but no, it's real. There's some sort of a bond that exists, and the more people that I've talked to about this think that it's not that this is an emerging phenomenon in human beings, but it's a neglected aspect of our senses
Of awareness.
because of language and because of media. We're being exposed to things all the time, so we've kind of let that part of our brain atrophy. But that's intuition. That's when you know things about someone. You meet someone, you know they're full of shit. You know, some people, you meet them and like right away you're like, get me the fuck away from this guy. You know what I mean? Like
I gotcha.
you feel their
Energy.
spirit.
They call it. You
Yeah.
feel someone's energy, right?
Yeah, but there's something real to that. And if you're in tune to it, you'll live a better life because you'll make better decisions. Because you'll feel that energy and you'll go, I see where this is going.
I've had this with.
Satan pretends to be kind and helpful. He tries to appear as something good. Satan and his demons will give a psychic information about a person in order to get that person hooked into spiritism, something that God forbids. It appears innocent at first, but soon people can find themselves addicted to psychics and unwittingly allow Satan to control and destroy their lives. Peter proclaimed, "Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." So guys, be careful on what you do. And psychics sometimes do have real power, and that doesn't mean that we should be afraid or worried of what Jesus is doing in our life. Jesus is more powerful, and the spirit that lives inside of you, which is the Holy Spirit, is stronger, and you don't have to worry, but it's something that you should be aware of. So I thought that was interesting. Shout out to Joe Rogan for talking about the devil's real. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't ever subscribed, I encourage you to do that. In the description below, you will be able to click a link to help you to decide to follow Jesus for the first time. Jesus loves you.